Hi there, my name is Aaron Heydrich. I'm the founder and president at Transformative Leadership Development. My website is tldtraining.com, and I would like to speak to you just a bit today about hiring. And in fact, what I want to talk about is hiring top talent. And what I mean by top talent is not necessarily the very best person to fill the position that you have open, someone who would instantly be a drop-in, plug-and-play all-star, but I am talking about hiring people with exceptional potential and people who are a perfect fit for your team. So with respect to hiring top talent, one of the first questions that comes up is, do I really need to? Why? What's the big deal with hiring top talent? And there are a lot of philosophies on this, and the answer for you may be different than that for someone who's in an industry slightly different from yours, and it's something that you have to figure out for yourself. But I want to offer you some suggestions on maybe what it means to hire top talent and why it can benefit your business. So the first thing that is possibly an objection is that hiring top talent's not an easy process. And that's true. It's not easy, it's not cheap, it's not simple. It takes planning. You got to put time and thought into everything about it. You've got to sit down and plan out your job listing. You got to sit down and plan out the recruitment. You need to think about the interview process and who's going to interview and what you're going to talk about and what benefits are going to be provided and offered. Hopefully that part is already there. But what you want to think about is, in the time we live in, it's very, very easy to compare benefits and reviews of other companies. So you do want to at least plan for that to be competitive within your industry as well. So all of these things, and one other thing that has become increasingly critical for new hires, especially if you're hiring for someone in a leadership position or someone that you really want to be a key player and stay with the company. And I hate to make it sound selfish, but it's selfish on the part of the employee. What's in it for them in terms of advancing their job career? And that needs to be something on the table too. So make sure that you've got a plan and that you're ready to communicate the key aspects. The next thing with the why bother question, and I'm really happy to discuss this because there's so many good examples out there of the importance of good hiring, and hiring not necessarily the most outstanding individual that you can, but most certainly hiring someone with exceptional potential who is going to grow with your organization. So the why bother question is really best answered by some of the people who have used good hiring techniques to the advantage of their company and have launched their companies into stratospheric success. And the one that I want to talk about right now is Steve Jobs. Okay, I mean, seriously, even the most recent generation to enter the workforce, for the most part, it's probably fair to say that unless you've been living under a rock, you know who Steve Jobs is or was. And you know that his brand stands for quality and for performance. And what led him to that? What makes a company as successful as Apple? So the legacy that he's got, that he's left behind, is one of triumph over adversity. Yes, he founded Apple and was subsequently dismissed from his own company. He was kicked to the curb because the people who ended up holding the reins of the company he founded felt that he just wasn't leadership material. He was a kid, he was smart, but he didn't have what it took to steer a company, to be at the helm of a ship like Apple. And if you think back to his career and look at where he landed, he found himself in the position of being in the director's chair at Pixar. And he took Pixar to stratospheric success. And once he had done that, all of a sudden, he was a lot more attractive to his old company. And hard feelings that may have existed aside, he did go back and he took the helm of Apple. And we now have things like iPods and iPhones, and you can't argue that what he accomplished while he was as the leader of Apple is nothing less than stunning. So why would I ramble on about all of that, especially something that most people already know? Someone asked Steve Jobs what his secret recipe was once. What's the secret to your success? And his answer, and I want to make sure I get the quote right, he said, "The secret to my success is that we have gone to exceptional lengths to hire the best people in the world." The best people in the world. Now, I don't know inside the mind of Steve Jobs exactly what that best person is or looks like, but the result is pretty obvious. So I think that one of the things you take away from this is that hiring, done well or done poorly, directly impacts company culture, company profits, and everything in between. It's the people that make your organization or break it. And bearing that in mind, Steve Jobs knew this and he acted accordingly. And this was all accomplished in a time that was not anything like the current global turmoil with a pandemic. Whether you're on board with all of the recommended precautions or not, the requirements in place for businesses to operate are nothing if not stressful. Your former approach of being very direct, upfront, personal with your hiring process now may need to take a step back to the virtual. And even if you are continuing in-person processes, there are protocols that are in place that will absolutely depersonalize it and add tension and stress to the process. So add that into the current economic uncertainty, the job and business uncertainty, the businesses that have had restrictions placed on operation. This is simply not a time to make hiring mistakes. My opinion. I fully accept that other people may have other priorities, and that's okay too. But if hiring is or has become, after you've thought about it, a priority, think about the statement of you need to hire exceptional people, and try to resist the urge to make hiring shortcuts. And I know that's strong. I've been there. I'm a person who's been in charge of small manufacturing groups and large ones, global companies, engineering groups, and I get it. You lose somebody critical to your team, somebody whose experience is hard to replace, and you don't have another of that particular individual. The pressure and the stress to rush out and fast track a hiring process is real. Resist it. Resist it. If you take the time to make the hire a good one, you drastically reduce the risk of turnover. And the more key and critical the position, the more making a bad hire who's there for 6 months to 2 years at substantially less development and productivity than you're going to want is just, it's costly, and it's amplified when it's a person who is a key player. So think about that. Think about what's reasonable. And I'm going to acknowledge that hiring is not trivial, even if you aren't trying to make it exceptional. Okay, before COVID hit us, Glassdoor reported that the average job opening attracted somewhere around 250 resumes. That's crazy. I don't want to look through 250 single sheet pieces of paper, and half the resumes out there now, especially if you're talking about a key player or a higher level position, might be 2 or 3 pages. That right there is enough to stress anybody out. Okay, I get it. But remember that someone who built one of the most robust, dynamic, and just powerhouse of a company made it his most important key aspect of what he did. And he said that, and I think, if I remember right, he said, hiring is the most important thing I do. Okay. So, and I want to just, again, stress a little bit more. There wasn't any compromise in Steve Jobs' attitude about that. He did the hiring. He thought it was so important that getting the right talent and qualifications onto his team, he basically never delegated it, and he personally interviewed and hired over 5,000 individuals during his career. So that's something key. And then another part of his philosophy that's shared by senior Apple Vice President Jay Elliott is this: the difference between hiring just an average, looking for the middle of the road just so you can fill the position, versus taking the time and effort to find an exceptional person who's an exceptional fit for your organization, is a difference of 50 to 1 all the way to 100 to 1. So that's incredible. That's up to 2 orders of magnitude difference in what you're going to get out of the performance of a person, just because they are the right fit for your company and they have really great potential. And I get it. You're talking about a bell curve distribution. So you got to prioritize what's right for your company, and most certainly in leadership positions. So think about it. The statement was that a small team of A+ players can run circles around a huge team of B or C players. So that's critical. And hiring the best, hiring the cream of the crop, is a key aspect of how you build an outstanding team. So if nothing else, taking the time to hire well ensures that whatever the potential of the individual, you've at least hired the right skill set, and more importantly than that, you've hired the right fit for your team. And that by itself goes light years ahead of just having a get it filled up quick philosophy. So that's the bulk of what I wanted to talk about in this particular discussion. I've got two other takes on this whole hiring thing that I'd like to share at a different time. But what I'd like to do now is leave this right here and let you think about it, and invite you to come to my website, tldtraining.com. That stands for Transformative Leadership Development Training. Have a look at our website. If what we're offering for services is something that's a question mark for you, then maybe you're the kind of person that would like to try before you buy. For the duration of the rest of 2020, I have got free workshops scheduled on Eventbrite, and you can link to my Eventbrite site from my website and have a look. Each one of these is one of the modules. Each one is a module taken out of the High Impact Manager training program, which includes 24 separate modules. The entire program can be tailored to suit what your company needs, and I'd be happy to discuss that with anyone. So think about it. Take a look at my website, please, by all means. The free workshops, webinars, are absolutely no catch. I'm not going to ask you to make a donation or anything silly. If you want to sign up for a newsletter, sign up. If you don't, don't. The workshops are, I guarantee you, useful material for you and or your team. And if you think that anything in one of those workshops would be a benefit, I offer it up for free. Take it, use it to your benefit. If it helps you, consider looking at the rest of the program and seeing if there's enough there that's worthwhile. It'll help your company. I guarantee it is. And I'd like to leave it right there, let you think about it, and I hope that this has been helpful to you. I hope you enjoyed the discussion, and until next time, I wish you the best. Thank you.